Time to shine today, varsity squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and from small beginnings come great things. The Take Action Academy's mission is to help you develop awareness to find your purpose. And I have my really good friend, Paul Rogers, on. He has a hell of a backstory. Talk about a comeback story, a little Rocky. You should have cued the Rocky music here. But, you know, Paul is an overnight success that took 21 years in the making. From successful commercial lawyer to kitesurfing instructor, running an international kite business, then teacher on a native Indian reserve, now a life coach. If that was enough, he has beaten cancer and cheated death in a horrific traffic accident. And I'm so blessed that Paul's still breathing air on this big blue planet, and, you know, to be able to have him come on and tell a story about his travesties that he had to go through, and he's going to help you level up as well. So make sure you break out your notebook and take some really good notes here from my good friend Paul. But Paul, come on to the Time to Shine Today varsity squad and introduce yourself. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Oh, my favorite color is blue because it reminds me of the sea. And given I'm very much a water babe, then that's where I am at.
Wait a minute, kite surfing and water, no way.
Occasionally.
I tell you what, it's hurricane season down here, and I live in Juno Beach, Florida. And I'll tell you what, kite surfers are out there, and they're loving this, man. They have, 4 or 5 foot breaks up near the shore. So they're just going off. This is beautiful. But let's get into a little bit of origin story for you here, Paul. Let's take us back a little bit. I mean, you're a corporate lawyer, so you're basically a douchebag, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, you're a corporate lawyer, and then, you know, you got into this, little traffic accident, or maybe a little bit, more than a little bit. Let's get the origins there, and then let's work our way into the Take Action Academy.
Yeah, sure. I mean, commercial lawyer, and you're absolutely quite correct in describing me like that. And when you realize yourself that you're a douchebag, you know you've reached the upper limits. So I mean, at that point there, I kind of just followed my heart after that, and my brain had got me that far into getting a good job, you know, getting an education. But then the story kind of ends. There's no happily ever after that point. And so I followed my passion, and to be honest, it's led me all the way through life where I've needed to go. And yes, you mentioned the accident, which is I always like to do things with dramatic flair, as you're just about to hear. 2 years ago in March, so March 2018, I was with my family, my wife, my 2-year-old at the time, and my white husky Malamute dog. And we were driving back from daycare, and a train hit the car which we were traveling in on an unmanned crossing.
Wow.
And yeah, the train did a pretty good job at destroying everything, including our good selves. We both, my wife and I, ended up on life support for 10 days, and my parents got that call you never want to get as a parent, to actually come over from England to Canada to turn the machine off. I mean, it just pulls my heart in all sorts of directions, just even thinking about that. And my wife woke up a day before I did. She can't remember this, but she asked to come down to my bedside. And I was still asleep. I like to say asleep because it's far more Disney than actually the reality of the situation.
Right.
And so she talked to me for a while. And then the next morning, my parents arrived, and the doctors ran and hugged them once they arrived and said, forget everything we said. He's awake. We didn't do anything. So we're going to call this a miracle. So when the ICU workers start saying a miracle, you tend to sit up and listen.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I woke up, I first of all, my whole life had gone in the toilet, and I didn't know who I was, where I was. But what I knew is I had a horrific amount of pain from a broken neck, broken back, and smashed skull. It was quite funny. This is funny. I looked in the mirror when I was able to go and look in the mirror, and I looked like Captain Jack Sparrow because I had 2 black eyes and my dreadlocks, and I was like, oh my God, I've turned into Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh my gosh. So Let's go through those injuries again. You had a broken
neck. That was C1 and 2. The back was L3 and 4. The skull on the right-hand side had been shattered so badly that I was going to undergo a 7-hour brain operation to scoop out the fragments. And one shard has gone through nerve 7, which means that my right-hand side of my face is paralyzed.
Right.
So yeah, so I have what's called a TBI, traumatic brain injury.
Sure.
I had to look that up to start with, and I have PTSD. So I always thought, and I'm pretty sure this is common thinking, but it was only really the grounds of our very brave sort of servicemen and women who got PTSD. But I have a massive empathy for them, more than I ever have done, because
you're living
any
it.
Sounds or noises or metallic, it takes me straight back to the event.
Sure. Right. Did you seek out counseling for the PTSD?
Yeah, I mean, 2 years and I'm still going strong on that. And there's various ways in which people have tried to attack it. But what's happened is that I'm a pretty unorthodox guy, and that's what my brain has done. So every time they've tried to make progress, it just shut it down. So they're having to come up with new ways of actually getting around that. And and what I've actually found is that I have been like the old-fashioned mechanic, when you could get under the bonnet of your car and with a spanner and screwdriver. And I've done that in my own head, and I've actually done more repair work to myself than any medication or surgery. Sure. And it's something which has to be done every day. Right. And every day I know I'm getting stronger and better.
It'll be a never-ending journey, though, because of how traumatic it was, right? I mean, you're going to have to.
Absolutely.
I guess as we age anyways, we have got to, do things that we never really did before. I know I'm a yoga mat a heck of a lot more than I ever was before, just so I can feel good. So let's take it forward a little bit with regards to, after the accident, you've healed a little bit. Let's get into the Take Action Academy and how really coaching came about.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I, and we work so well together. We both decided, because she also has TBI as well, that when we actually first recovered, there was no real resources. We were desperate for information, and there was not really any we could find. So we decided that we wouldn't let that happen to anyone else coming behind where we were. So we put this Take Action Academy .ca, because we're up in the Canucks, yeah. And it's a load of resources that we found which have been helpful to us to start people on their paths of recovery, because you may not be responsible for the injury, but you're damn well responsible for the recovery. And sure. That is where we have basically, we want to pay it forward, because we recognize that we are lucky to have another roll of the dice, and we want to help by coaching, speaking, training programs, any way which we can use a platform to help other people.
Love it. So what do you think makes a great coach then, Paul?
I really think empathy has got to be really the main thing, because there's a great phrase I heard the other day, which is, you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you won't go. And so, I have got my mental health empathy from actually being in it rather than actually anything else. I am very lucky to actually have still been able to talk, because my brain injury is all around the front lobe. So, right. A centimeter or so in the wrong direction, and that's done. So that's also something which I'm trying to put to good use.
Sure. I love it. So when you bring in somebody in to the Take Action Academy, or maybe in a discovery period, or maybe you've hired, let's say they've hired you, and you start working with them. What is some secret sauce you use over there, Paul, to help them find their blind spots?
The first thing I usually do is I shock them by reverse engineering, in that I say, okay, let's start at your funeral. And who do you want standing around, and what do you want them to say? Do you want them to say, yeah, Paul, he always worked hard from 9 to 5 in the office. You know, he gave his best. Or do you want someone to say, this man made an impact and I want to continue that? So it immediately aligns you with what I think is your true purpose and also a passion.
Okay.
And as you reverse that back, you just say, are you in alignment with that? And if you're not, then you actually can start to change and get in alignment with it.
I love that. I love it. So when you, maybe let's go back to maybe a discovery period with a prospect client that you're going to coach. Is there, or hell, man, even if they hire you, is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Yes, because what they do is that they tend to feel that they're imbalanced, because they're like, oh, well, ours is never as bad as yours. And it's like, well, you know, it's not actually.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Did they ever play that like sympathy card back to you in a sense? Be like, man, you went through hell. My ass. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I digress.
And you know, it's not a pissing competition at the end of the day. It's
right.
And you know, it's something which actually, fine, yeah, okay, mine is dramatic, but trauma is trauma. It doesn't matter how it comes. It can be emotional, it can be mental, it can be, and we're all going through a very traumatic period at the moment, and that's something that overwhelms the brain, something you can't buy your way out of, you can't run away from. And it's that feeling of, I've only got one direction and it's through it.
Right.
And no trauma is greater or less than anyone else's.
Sure.
So that's the starting point, and even ground. That's what I like.
So if I am out, you know, networking, which we're allowed to here in South Florida, no matter what the media says, you know, if I'm out pressing flesh, meeting people, or even virtually, like what kind of things are they saying that would make them a good referral, prospect, or connection for the Take Action Academy?
It's digging behind what we all see, because we all portray our very best image that we've got life and we're doing great, but there's odd clues of they're stuck, that they have got to a point where they don't know where the next thing is, and they're looking for something. You can see that they're looking for something to get hold of, and that is where we can help, because you know, we have been there and we want to help. So there's two important things: knowledge and also the desire to help other people. So
love it. Love that. And it's so empathetic and whatnot. You know, yeah, that kind of blew me away. Really wanted to dig behind what you don't see. You've been dropping some serious knowledge nuggets here, Paul. I appreciate that. And so does my squad. So let's get in our DeLorean with Marty McFly. Remember him, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's our generation. So let's go back to the 23-year-old Paul Rogers, okay? Yeah. What kind of knowledge nuggets, so we call him here at Time to Shine today, what kind of knowledge nuggets are you dropping on the 23-year-old Paul to maybe help him shorten his learning curve, level up a little quicker, and really blast through?
I think the knowledge I would pay forward to myself would be, listen to your heart, get out of your head, because your head will follow the herd, because that's where it's programmed to be. If you listen to your intuition, once you find it, it will never ever give you a bum decision. It will always take you to where you need to be. And you just have to accept what life gives you and be willing to front it up, whatever it is.
Right.
And because, you know, I am really pleased the accident happened, because without it, I would not be on this path of purpose and passion.
Wow, that's strong. So, would he have listened?
I think he mostly wouldn't, because my douchebag self was I thought I was the coolest thing in the world, but actually now I realize I was a dick. And
me too, brother. Me too. When you're driven like us, I mean, you're an attorney, and you know, I was a real estate agent that, you know, Detroit is really cutthroat and everyone's going after it. And there's really no empathy or, you know, any couth, if you will. And it's like, you know what, I would like to think that I would listen, but I really didn't. I wouldn't have. I would have dropped almost the same knowledge nugget on myself with listen to your heart and not your head, and follow your intuition. But a lot of times ego just keeps driving and driving and driving, especially at that age where that testosterone is still flowing like crazy, right?
Yeah, and we're empire building at that stage.
Yeah.
You're all about and you've driven on by, as you say, the desire, because you just come out of however many years of being being locked into
Right.
the education. It's like, this is it. I'm going to take the world on. And I most really wouldn't. First of all, I wouldn't even recognize myself. I'd have walked past myself if I was there.
Me too, brother. So, Paul, how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, which you've dodged that expiration date in a big way. But how do you want that dash remembered? How do you want maybe your legacy or epitaph to be?
I want people to remember and see that actually I made a difference, and I impacted people, even if it's just one person who was going through something or found no way out. Just to reach that one person, you don't need that. For me now is success.
Love it. I love it. Just really giving forward, paying forward, and impacting, inch by inch, it's a cinch. Everyone wants to impact so many people. It's like you impact one person, per day, that comes up to thousands of people, because not only are you impacting them, they're taking what you say and impacting others. It flows.
That's entirely, it's like a ripple in the pond.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
And that it's, when you see it, it's actually so, that's what gives you and myself that fire to do it every day.
Love it. Love it. So what's one thing Paul knows for sure?
What's that?
What's one thing you know for sure?
One thing I know for sure is I thought I was spiritual before my accident. In fact, I mostly even wrote it on my resume. But I certainly had no clue. And, there is greater forces at work than what we can see.
Absolutely.
And we believe in visible things all the time: trust, love, everything else. Why is it so difficult to think of something else along that same thing?
No, I'm God-fearing. I'm a Christian, and I don't care what anybody else is. I don't judge. I love God and love Jesus. And people come to me, and I say the exact same thing. You trust, love, they're invisible, but you still believe in it, believe that it's possible. So I appreciate you being transparent about that. So, Paul, let's remove our cell phone, tablet, computer. What's 3 things that Paul can't live without?
Oh, wow. I would say my desire, because I have had that removed from me, and I know how painful that is.
Sure.
I think I don't need technology. That technology is just a means rather than anything else. I think books for me. I need to be learning. I've been hoovering up information all over the place, and a good mentor. Somebody to actually bounce some ideas off.
Exactly. We said it at the same time. Yeah. I love that. I love that. So, Paul, what's your definition of a life well lived?
I think getting to the end and not having any regrets. Regret is a horrible emotion which you cannot repair. Disappointment, all the other ones you can repair. Regret, it's a one-time ticket, and it's too late to go back and change it. So
wow.
Try and live with none to start with.
I love that. I love it. And Paul, as we start to wind things down here just a little bit, I like to do my level up lightning round. So you and I could talk 15, 20, an hour on each one of these questions, but you got 5 seconds with no explanation because they don't need them. So awesome. Just, you ready to fire them back?
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. What's the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
What's the best what?
Leveling up advice you've ever received.
Don't listen to anyone else.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I write 10 things of gratitude every day.
Love it. Love that, Paul. So not the book that you're reading right now or the flavor of the month. What is that one book? If I'm in my doldrums, I'm just not feeling it, you'd be like, hey, Fergie, read this book.
It's actually an old book, Napoleon Hill.
Think and Grow Rich?
Think and Grow Rich.
Love it. Yeah, it's the Bible, baby.
Yeah,
For
amazing.
business. Yeah, absolutely. Paul, what's your most favorite emoji when you're texting?
It's got to be the firework one, the
Love it.
explosion one.
Love it. Okay, so physically, what age would you be if you could be that for the rest of your life while still continuing to get wisdom and knowledge and continue learning? Physically, what age would it be?
I would pick the age I'm at now.
Okay. All right. Me, I'm 32 all day. I'll
Yeah.
take that with it and keep learning at that age, because I'll tell you what, I was still, feeling good and getting up in the morning and not being all creakly, crackly. But I really, I get it, man, because you went through a lot. So good age. And is there any charity and organization you like to support and give your time and or money to?
Yeah, the Red Cross, who do fantastic work
they do.
across the board.
Yes, they do. I love that the money goes where it says it's going.
Exactly.
And last question. What is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Oh, no, I'm going to... my guilty pleasure is the 90s. Hey, Britpop.
Okay. The 90s was so transitional, too. I mean, it kind of rolled out of the big hair 80s, and then rolled into like the grunge and, like you said, the Britpop and whatnot. No, it's a great decade. So Paul, where can we find you, brother?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn all the time. So Paul S. Rogers, because there was so many Paul Rogers, I had to do something different. Obviously, the takeactionacademy.ca. Yeah, I'm always there for a chat. I'm just there and open whenever anyone needs.
I love it. Love it. Leave us with one last knowledge nugget you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action on.
I'm going to leave you with a quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer, which is, don't die with the music still in you.
Yes. Yes. Love that. I'm actually writing that down as a reminder. Don't die with the music still in you. I know when he passed, he had all that music out. That's beautiful.
To be honest, if you can live like he did, you've done a good job.
I still think he was taken way too early from us, but I'll tell you what, he was a champ. I had the great pleasure of meeting him twice, and he's just an amazing man. It's just the aura that came off that guy is just great. But squad, we just had a fantastic masterclass, free masterclass, I should add, with my really good friend Paul Rogers from Take Action Academy. He believes that a great coach is very empathetic and listens not only with his ears, with his eyes, and every other senses to really, really dig into his clients. He'll tell you that you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you won't go. He likes to, when he brings clients on, he likes to reverse engineer, and he'll put you at your funeral and he'll ask you, what are people saying about you? And if they're not saying what you really want them to say, then you need to start leveling up, and Paul will definitely get you there. If you really want to dig behind what you don't see and get unstuck, the Take Action Academy is where you really want to go to level up. And I can personally put you in touch with my friend Paul. He's going to tell you to listen to your heart and get out of your head and trust your intuition. Paul when Paul's time is actually going to expire, which hopefully it's many years down the road, he'll know that he made a difference and impacted people, even if it's one by one, inch by inch is a cinch, as we like to say here at Time to Shine. He's going to tell us, don't live with any regrets, because you can't repair what you don't do. So just get going, get out there, get rocking, fall on your face, like we like to say, fail forward and keep moving. And don't die with the music's not out of you. Our boy, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and Paul is the epitome of living, Livin. He's a total go-giver. He levels up his health. He levels up his wealth. He's always progressing, always moving forward. And Paul, you're part of our squad now. And thank you so much for coming on the Time to Shine today's show, brother.
Thanks, man.
Have a great day.